Happy Halloweener! Rawr! That's a fucking stupid bit. Stupid bit. Creepypastas have been a huge part of my life for the longest time, and since it's Halloween, I decided I would finally talk about some of them that were influential in my life. Some of them I won't be going very in depth, and some I will. You'll just have to watch and see. I'm also going to categorize them into 3 groups for an easier viewing experience. We have scary games, mentally ill people, and spooky creatures. Now that this little introduction is out of the way, let's just get right into it. Also, make sure to like and sub. Love y'all. Okay, so starting off our first category, we have scary games, with the biggest one of them all. Your favorite Friday Night Funkin' mod, Sonic.exe. Sonic.exe was a creepypasta made by maybe one of the worst people on the internet. Yeah, you're gonna see that a lot. This story involves a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog for PC that haunts the main character. Basically, every Sonic character dies, and then, instead of turning off the game, he keeps playing, and a Sonic plush appears on his bed. Spooky, right? This crappy little 5-minute story spawned so many fan games, web series, and interpretations that it's sometimes hard to remember this original story. Back in 2021, the original creator, JC the Hyena, got outed for abusing her partner, being a manipulator, and role-playing with... Seriously? What a start. Ownership of the character got transferred to someone else, and they're trying to rework the whole story into something completely different, so good luck, I guess. The Lavender Town Curse was a huge one back in the day, and I remember being worried that listening to it would make me kick the bucket. It's a freaky song, and hearing all these stories of other kids who listened to it and didn't make it made me freaked out something crazy. That's pretty much all there is to the story. It's loosely based off of the Porygon episode of Pokemon where kids were having seizures, but other than that, it's just some creepy urban legend.
The jack-o'-lantern. The chocolate ice.
Now that we're done with that, let's get into our next category, mentally ill people, where our biggest guy here is one of the biggest creepypastas around, and also somehow one of the worst written, Jeff the Killer. You know him, you probably don't love him, but he's here and he has no eyelids. Jeffrey Woods was just a normal teen, except he got these weird, violent urges. One day, after moving to a new school, these bullies try to rob him and his brother at the bus stop, so he just beats the absolute shit out of them, and then they go to school anyways, so I don't even know what the point was. The police eventually show up at their house, and Jeff's brother takes the blame, which I always thought was stupid because you're telling me there was absolutely no witnesses to an attempted mugging and stabbing. Also, it's not like he killed him. They just beat him up. Anyways, shit happens, Jeff's brother goes to jail, Jeff ends up at a birthday party for his neighbor, and boom, the bullies are there. They also have a gun for some reason. They fight and fight and fight, and the bullies throw vodka and bleach on Jeff, then set him on fire. He survives somehow, and a couple weeks later, he cuts his eyelids off so he can always see himself, and cuts a smile into his face so he's always smiling. Then Jeff kills his parents who thought he looked terrifying, and his brother who didn't even do anything. I mean, it's a really bad story, but I remember listening to Mr. Creepypasta read it and being scared of staying up late because he'd come in and tell me to go to sleep. The next story is kind of similar to Jeff in a way, not in a sense like Jane the Killer, which is an entire video by itself, but more so that it's someone who is just batshit insane and has crazy shit happen to them. Hickey Toby, created by Castaway, follows the journey of Toby, a kid with Tourette's and BPD, who's also a proxy for Slender Man. The entire story details how he keeps seeing Slender Man and eventually just joins him to be a hatchet-wielding murderer or something. I mean, I was never a huge fan of him, but he was super popular, so he kind of got lumped into the big names like Jeff the Killer or Ben Drowned. I'm sorry there's not more, I'm just not super familiar with the story anymore. I stopped listening to creepypastas so long ago at this point. So, finally for this category, we have Fleshgate. The Fleshgate is a spin-off of the internet idea of a skinwalker. Skin equals flesh, walk equals gate, you get it? Created specifically to be something scary online by members of 4chan, the Fleshgate is a creature that is more mental than physical, if that makes sense. You'll be sitting by a campfire with 4 or so of your friends, and suddenly, there's a 5th friend. but you can't tell which one is real. You'll have memories with every single one of them, but you know one of them is a fake. It's one of those stories that really messes with your mind and makes you think that you're going crazy, which is why I added it into the mental illness category.
Hey, you hungry home invader! Stop raiding our refrigerator!
Now, on to our final category, we have spooky creatures, starting with maybe the biggest creepypasta of all time, Slender Man. Created by Eric Knudsen in 2009 for a Photoshop contest on Something Awful, Slender Man quickly grew in infamy, spawning countless games and a god-awful movie. Just god-awful movie. I mean, you all know about him, he lures kids or whatever. JC the Hyena is Slender Man. Our next one in this category is one that I still think is kind of a solid story that holds up, and that's Eyeless Jack. Written by Azel 5000, it details the story of Mitch, which was kind of new at the time because it didn't show an origin story or explain who the guy was. Mitch moves in with his brother, and one morning he wakes up feeling super sick. So he goes to the doctor, where he finds out one of his kidneys was surgically removed while he was asleep. How you don't wake up during that? Don't ask me. Just part of the story. Obviously, since it's a creepypasta, he stays in the house, and one night, he wakes up to see Eyeless Jack staring him in the face, so he somehow grabs his camera and takes a picture before running into the woods, while also simultaneously only getting a slash on his chest. Laughing Jack is another Jack, created by Snuffbone, which tells the story of a young boy being lured by a clown with candy and treats. James, the boy, is convinced that Jack is his imaginary friend who gives him candy. After going to sleep one night, the mom wakes up to find her dog, Fido, being hung from the lights and stuffed with candy. The boy's mother, obviously freaked out, tries everything she can to find out who Laughing Jack actually is, only to find out in the most horrifying way that nope, it was indeed a creepy clown. After a few more nights, James' mother wakes up to a bang in the kitchen only to find that James is nailed to the wall with his chest sliced open and his tongue and eyes cut out. Actual part in the story, by the way. She goes to slice at Jack, but he vanishes into a mist, making her stab James in the heart. The story ends with her being in a psychiatric ward, and Laughing Jack presumably being outside her window playing Pop Goes the Weasel. So that's the end of that story. And with that, I think that'll conclude this video. A lot of these were stories that I personally grew up with, and I love them so much. No matter how bad they actually are. These are absolute masterpieces in internet history. I just want to say thank you for watching this far, and if you liked what you saw, consider liking and subscribing. This is my first ever kind of long form, I would say, content. I make little music, I stream sometimes, and I like playing games a lot. So if y'all like what y'all saw, please consider liking and subscribing. Comment if you want to see something else in the future, and that's about it for me. I'll see y'all later.